Welcome to Friday, and today is going to be a little bit of fun, I do believe, as we look at this. It is the Transformers Studio Series 86 Brawn. Is it any good? We're about to find out in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share. Of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below, and also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the packaging for Brawn. It's packaging. I mean, it is what it is. However, what about the little bot inside? I've heard a lot of people gush over this guy. I've heard a couple of minor issues. How did mine turn out? What do I think? Well, without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy? So I guess it's time to be one of the cool kids and give my take on Studio Series 86 Brawn. And I've heard a lot of gushing over this guy. Is it warranted? We're going to find out. But before we look at him, we're going to look at that packaging first. So our boy has this packaging. You can see here he's all ready for action. And his mouth is open over here. Presumably the Decepticons have just entered his ship. Over here, same sort of artwork. And on the back, of course, we do have the product images and his alt mode and all of that good stuff. Our boy comes with this backdrop. It is the scene where the hole is in the ship and the Decepticons are entering. We all know what happens after that. In a surprising turn of events, the actual faux backdrop that Brawn is attached to, he was attached with plastic ties, not the rattan ties that they've been using as of late. Interestingly, I remember when they used rattan ties before, maybe 8-10 years ago, and I preferred them then. And again, as a cost-cutting measure, because it's cheaper, they went back to the plastic ties. I've never preferred the plastic ties, but that's just me. He comes with this blaster. It's not big, but I like it, and I'm glad he came with it. That's one thing that the Titans Return really didn't do. I know, you can take off part of his roof, and it's supposed to be his blaster, but that was always kind of lame. This is cast in, I don't want to say black, I want to say gunmetal gray. No paint, but I'm happy to have it. And not for nothing, we also have these instructions, and you know what? They're pretty darn good. And I think it's time for us to get into the nitty-gritty of the man of the hour himself. And this, of course, is Brawn, Deluxe Class Brawn. And I was wondering if he was, in fact, in scale. Well, if we go by the Sunbow chart, and I know that that's a pretty iffy thing to go by, Brawn should be the same height as Beachcomber, as Huffer, as Pipes, as those guys. I don't know why Beachcomber is as big as he is, but whatever. That's his height. He is not as short in robot mode as Bumblebee, Cliffjumper, Gears, and Windcharger. Those four, a little bit shorter. I honestly, until I went back and looked at the chart, I thought that all of the mini-bots were the same size. Little did I know. So here he is next to Cliffjumper, and indeed he is a little bit bigger than Cliffjumper, as he should be. And interestingly, actually I'll just show this with him. Interestingly, here we also have, well, Road Ranger, but it's the Huffer mold, and you can see he's the same height. If I take Cliff kind of out of it and rearrange these guys just a little bit, you can see Cliff is shorter, and these two guys, oh no, fell back. Our boy fell back. These two guys are, they're the same height, which is cool. Interestingly, I talked about how far up on the body Huffer, and Brawn for that matter, would come on the Commander class Ultra Magnus, and that was a little interesting. I talked about that on GotBot Goes Live a little while ago. But yeah, his scale is accurate. Let's get into scores for the guy, and we're going to begin with his look, because that would make the most sense. But to do so, it's only proper that we do this comparison. That's right, Brawn to Brawn. So, obviously these are both intended to be a G1 iteration of that classic character. And there's an argument for the Takara Legends version of of the Titan's Return Brawn. We'll talk about that as we go through. So I would think that the color on the Studio Series 86, the green, is probably more animation accurate, though, to be fair, as I look back at a number of images from the show, it's hard to say for sure which green is correct. It really depends on the copy of the cartoon, I suppose, that you're watching. But we're going to default and say that the Studio Series 86 is actually closer to that military green that we should have. Worth noting. The Titan's Return, a bit of a darker green, and there are episodes where he's a darker green, but the Legends one looks like this with this lighter kind of pea military green. I did have to color the silver on the knee pads of the Titan's Return. That's already done on the new one. Here's the thing. Overall, I think both of them are quite successful. Honestly, I would give each of them about a 9. Not perfect. Why would I give the Titan's Return one about a 9? Well, again, the green is probably supposed to be a little darker, and honestly, the section behind his head should be wider and yellow instead of being narrow and green. So I kind of understand the imperfections with the Titan's Return being as small as it is. Then we get to the new guy. Yeah, the green is correct. Yeah, he has a silver. If we go from the kind of feet and work our way up, the reason that this guy has a 9 is pretty straightforward. We have orange hinges at the knees. The knees should just be green with the silver. I kind of wish that those hinges at the knees, I get why they're orange, but I wish that they had been put on the same sprue as the green. Same up here with what's going to be like his armpit section. That's yellow. It's probably supposed to be green. However, the argument could be made that no, in the animation, the side of his body was also yellow. And while we can't exactly do that here because of the transformation, maybe this yellow that's in under his arm is meant to mimic just that. So maybe it is accurate. He has a ton of paint on his head, on his face, on this back section up here, on the entire body. Then a Tampoed Autobot logo. All of his windows are painted except for the back one. The silver on all 4 tires, painted. A Tampoed Autobot logo on the hood. He's a little bit light in mass, coming in at 75 grams compared to the traditional like 84 or so. However, he is slathered with paint. I think the green on the biceps, the silver on the forearms and hands, all of that is correct. The head is correct, even the line work's correct. Although for some reason I feel like the head here has like chubby cheeks. But when I look at the animation, the line work matches up. It is about as perfect of a head sculpt as you could want, right down to the blue eyes. Then we get to the pelvis and the lower tummy. So the lower tummy is where we see the green, and we have, like, you can see that there's a space here, and you can see the silver pin going through it. Interesting, because his lower tummy should be silver and blue. This guy has the blue accent, but he doesn't have the little silver piece above it. What would have been nice to see here is a little blue accent on the lower piece of plastic. Maybe I'll do it myself, we'll see. And right down on the pelvis, it's all, like his hips and his main pelvis is all yellow here. However, again, bringing back the Titan's Return for a second, there is a black highlight that should be just below the tummy, just above the pelvis. Again, I might paint that in myself. Had they put in that blue highlight and that black highlight, I probably would have scored the color for the guy not a 9, but maybe more like a 9.75. Maybe even, well, 9.5, maybe a 9.75. Quite good, no doubt about it. What about the articulation? Because we're doing pretty well so far. Well, first thing to note is we got a fair-sized backpack here. And it's not egregious, I'm okay with it, but I do wish that it didn't move so free like this. I don't know, I wish that there was one ratchet or something that would have kept it in place. The head, it can go left and it can go, because of the shape of his head, it's a bit weird to move. A lot of times I'll open it out and do it forward. A lot of people say this is really tight. Mine was, I've worked it a bit. It's not as tight anymore, if I'm being perfectly honest. Disappointed that it doesn't go up or down, just left and right. The shoulders, they come out. They can go all the way around, and I guess all the way around this way as well. Very deep elbow, and I like that it's all molded in here so you don't really see a hole or anything. It's very nice, very deep elbow. Love that. Bicep swivel. Then we get to the hands. No wrist swivel. Bum. Real big bummer, man. I've gotten accustomed to it, and I don't like seeing that gone. I didn't like it on the Huffer mold either. Think they should have had wrists. So far I think they should have had wrists and those two paint details. Waist, that's pretty free-flowing, especially if you get this out of the way. It's very free-flowing. Legs go all the way forward. I guess if you get this back, they can kind of go back, you know, as much as you're gonna kind of need them to. Legs all the way out to the side, and of course the arms can do a full T-pose as well. Thigh swivel, that's cool. Heel and toe that go down, which I think he kind of needs because I don't find he stands like a champion. I really have to maneuver the feet to do that. I've had him fall over a few times. The only good thing is, because we have a heel and a toe, it's easy to maneuver the feet to get him to stand like a champion. And a big ankle tilt. So the feet, stupendous. And then we have a knee, but it's about 88, maybe 89. It's not quite 90 degrees. Not a deal breaker, but I do wish that we had ever so slight more knee bend. Articulation, I'm going to have to give it, I think, around a 9 as well. The head can't go up and down, and we have quite a limitation with the wrists not being able to rotate. So a 9 and a 9. So far, he's not a perfect offering, but he is a strong offering. I guess we'll do the transformation and kind of get out of here. By the way, while this goes in his hand, the only place I can really find to store it in robot mode is on his back, which I guess it's fine, but I wish we had somewhere that, I don't know. I mean, something up and under maybe. I don't think there's much. I guess you could. I wonder if I could just do this. I guess you could do that. I mean, you could just jam it in there and then push the back down and it'll stay in there. It rattles around, but like, you could do it. I don't know. Maybe there's a tighter way to fit that. I don't know. Also, I'll note this in package, this flap was down, so I just pushed it up. It is a tight flap though, man. Not gonna lie. Okay. We're going to open out the legs to do the transformation. Also, I'll note this. Put in the toes and the heel, by the way, and the toes and the heel. A lot of people have noted this. I guess I'll note it too. If you want to open out his legs, it kind of looks like his G1 legs, where the whole side of the truck comes down to become his legs. Neat, I suppose. So they're all out and just kind of waiting at this juncture to be brought up on the sides. We're going to rotate the waist around. Cool. And we're going to just sort of leave all of that like that for now. We're going to come here and we're going to bring all of that back and out as well for now. The arms maybe next? Yeah, let's do the arms next. They rotate all the way down like this, and the hands will rotate in. My hands were tight at first, but they worked out fine after. Rotate the orange hinge down, yellow hinge, whatever it is, bring it in. Then we're going to flip up the whole thing here, and that includes the green panel that this orange hinge is on, because that becomes a side window. I think that's a neat little trick. I'm not gonna lie, I like that. You wanna make sure that you have this rectangular slot facing in, and there's a rectangular tab up on the green. When you bring in the other arm, again, you're going to want to have it positioned correctly so that is that the right space? No, I don't have these lined up quite right. Hold on. There we go. There's the there's the tab and another tab up here. And we want to have this arm turned so that we have access to the slot here and another tab up on the arm here. So it takes a little bit of fine tuning at the bicep to do it, and then you can push those arms together, or you should be able to push those arms together. There we go. And you'll hear a little bit of a satisfying click. Then we can come here and rotate this around. Now that's clever. I do like that. rotate the head around so that we're seeing the back of the head and close it up. I mean, I suppose he has the whole, visible head syndrome thingy, but, it's up there and it's hidden away all right. There's a lot of robot underneath though, won't lie. Then we bring the legs up on the side and we're really turning them up at these orange hinges here. And when we bring it up around, the closed up feet and heels should go into this space. And the very front should come up here and kind of tab on. It's a bit loose until you get everything sort of lined up. Do the same over here. We turn at that hinge, we bring this up. I'm going to press all of that together now. Okay. Then we bring this down over, and when we do so, this should, see if I can show this now. This should allow these hands to go into tabs on the green. There's spaces in his, I didn't really show it, but maybe I should? No, I'm not gonna. In his knuckles, there's little rectangular spaces for a couple of tabs. And then this should come down over and lock in. And finally, this piece comes down over the back, and there's a couple of little yellow tabs here that this also locks in. And boom, in the end, here he is in his truck mode. Yes, it's not perfect because I need to tab a few things together, so I'm just gonna clean him up, make sure everything is tabbed in tight, and then we'll take a look at the vehicle mode. If you're wondering to yourself, how hard is it to kind of tab everything in there because GotBot didn't have it perfect? It's simple, it's easy. All I did was take it in my hand and give it a couple of extra squeezes just to make sure everything was tabbed in. It actually tabs in very smoothly and elegantly. I'm going to give the transformation, I think that's where this one really shines. There's a lot of moving parts and it's interesting. You got a couple of neat tricks. I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it a 10, honestly. It's a great transformation. To be fair, though, I think both of these have a good transformation, but in vehicle mode, undoubtedly the 86 looks more accurate to the animation. The only thing about the 86 that I'm not a fan of is the sides here. I don't understand how that's supposed to be a vehicle door. Again, though, looking at the animation for that vehicle, there is a side step. That's supposed to be right here and going up the side. And the door is above that. So I suppose right in there is supposed to be where the door actually is. I don't know, just a molded in handle maybe would have made all the difference. But as it is, you're not going to mistake that this is Brawn. Come on. I mean, the front, again, a ton of paint across here. The Tampo painted windows. I do have a scrape on a couple of my windows here, by the way. Or one of my windows. One of my little triangles up here. I mean, all paint, all paint, all paint. Not back here, but you've seen all four of those. I mean, it's impressive. It's impressive. We had a 9, a 9, and a 10. He's not absolutely perfect, but man, he's a solid 9.25. This is a fantastic Brawn. To be fair, this is a fantastic Brawn as well. And there's an argument to be made for the Takara Legends one. That is the Titans Return mold, but closer to these colors. Pick your poison. There's no losers here, only winners. And here we are, and here he is. And I mean, what can I say, really? It's pretty good. I think the transformation is kind of brilliant. There are certain things about it, like trying to open out the legs, I find mine tab in super duper tight, but otherwise I find the transformation to be pretty good. I do wish that this was not left as loose as what it is, but it's not a huge deal breaker. I am very happy that there's a ton of paint on the guy. Since he comes in at 75 grams instead of the traditional 84, I need to see the value elsewhere, and I do feel like the value is made up with extra paint and some innovative engineering, such as this piece up here turning all the way around. However, that's not to say everything's perfect. I do find the way the shoulder hinges are here, sometimes they like to give at the ball peg up here before the actual hinge does. Especially on this side, although it's not doing it now. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign. I did push the pin in a little bit, and maybe that will help things. It's only a minor thing, and I don't even know if I mentioned it in the review, but I thought I would mention it now. I have no problem with the shoulders being on ball pegs. It's tried and true and works just fine. However, I am super duper disappointed that if you took that mess away, while it's great that you gave us some innovative engineering, and while it's great that you gave us a ton of paint, that doesn't mean that everything is perfect with it either. If you gave up that mask, that's cool. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little blue stripe under here, because the silver pin actually does give us the silver that we should have. And maybe I'll color that blue in myself with a paint pen or something. I also think down on the hips and pelvis, we should have had the black. In fact, this one actually done the lower waist and pelvis better, because we do have the blue and we do have the black. So a couple of missed opportunities there, nothing major, just minor, but it would have been nice if they were there as well. And no wrist swivel. Man, come on, no wrist swivel. Like, it's become a standard thing. And again, I don't think there's any reason that we shouldn't have had it. Much like with the Earthrise Seekers, they should have had a wrist swivel as well. The head. A lot of people say that their head's super duper tight, and I think my head is kind of tight, but it's after loosening up a little bit with movement. Very disappointed that it can only look left and right and no up and down. Real bummer. A couple of articulation limits that I really didn't expect in the modern age and for the prices that they charge. I don't like seeing articulation taken away. That said, is he fun? Absolutely. Is he better than this? Hard to say. I think they're both excellent, but in different ways. Like, this guy doesn't have a waist. This guy does. This guy, you know, when you turn his head, I think, no, I'm wrong. I thought the top piece went with it. This guy's got the thing right behind his head, but this guy has the proper yellow one behind his head. So, like, it's, I don't know. There's things I like about both. I don't think that you're a loser either way, honestly. And whether you choose this or the Takara version or this, I think it's a win any way you cut it. It's just varying degrees of pretty darn good. Even with my couple of limitations here, I still think it's a tremendous version of Brawn. I don't know if I need the mold as anybody else. I get it. A lot of people will say, what about an Outback? I don't know if I necessarily want it again as Outback, but having it for this guy, I think it's all right. I'm not as blown away as some people have been. Not because I'm not impressed by the things I'm impressed with. As a matter of fact, the things I'm impressed with, I'm really impressed with. But the things that I'm a little disappointed in, I'm more disappointed in than I thought I was going to be. The wrists and their limits, the couple of missing paint colors that I might add myself, but I shouldn't have to, and the head going left and right is fine. I just wish I could do a little up and down. Let me know what you think about Brawn. Are you totally smitten with him? Or do you say he's good, but not quite perfect? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around, man. Have some fun with us here on the channel. And especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit. Either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old fashioned way, right here inside the videos.